Please welcome our next speaker, Samuel Adranyi, a senior software engineer. Today he will be presenting Power Apps, Tools, and IoT. Please stick around after Samuel's session for a live Q&A.
Hey folks, thank you for making it to my session. I hope you're having fun so far at this year's DynamicsCon event. Awesome content, great speakers, and I'm hopeful that my session is going to give you the thrills, give you something, to have fun with. So without much ado, let's get into my session. But before then, I'd like you to know that, there's a chat on the side. Just keep your questions coming. In the session, I might probably pause and answer them, or I might just hold off, and answer it for you at the end of my session. But whichever the case is, keep your questions coming. I love to have your questions. Keep your feedback also coming, and let's have a wonderful DynamicsCon. Well, if you know me, you know that if someone is on a show, on the conference or a speaking event, there's going to be some IoT, there's going to be some automation, there's going to be some fun. So let's get right into my session. Stick with me. So today, what am I going to talk about? We're going to talk about Power Platform, Teams, and IoT. What about them? Well, we're gonna mix them up, mash them up, and do some very interesting things with it. But first, you need to get to know who I am. If you don't know maybe then you're new to this this event and this series of sessions. Well, my name is Samuel Adranyi. I'm currently based in Accra, Ghana. I'm actually originally from Accra, Ghana myself. I'm currently a senior software engineer at Macoma. I'm very passionate about IoT, AI, cloud, and then everything solution development. I'm also a community advocate. I am one of the organizers for the Accra.net user group and then the Accra Power Platform user group. We're doing awesome and tremendous things. I stream 3 times in a week. So on Tuesdays I do IoT Tuesdays. On Fridays I do Demystify Tech, and on Sundays I do the Power series. All of these are resuming next week right after Ignite. So for the Power series, all right, I bring a lot of people on the Power platform around for you to do. We talk about a lot of stuff. We talk about fun Power platform stuff. We talk about automation, all the cool things in Power platform. I also have a podcast, okay, which I run every Fridays. We just talks about the journey of people in tech. With that said, now I think you have a lot of information about me. You know who I am. Let's just get right into it. So in today's agenda, I'm going to be taking you through, first of all, a very short history. I always like to tell people a short history about IoT, how the applications work, and then I'm going to give you the scenario for today's session, and then we're going to do a demo. It's going to be a twist from last year's, DynamicsCon. This year, I'm going to focus a lot more on a hands-on demo so that you can actually appreciate what we do. So that's what's going to be. With that said, let's get right into it, and don't forget, keep your feedback coming, keep tweeting, keep sharing feedback, and let's know how the event is going. Let's get right into it. So first off, I always like to ask the question, what is IoT? Now, IoT, basically from my own definition, is a network of interconnected objects, all right, that is able to collect, exchange, act on data without human intervention. And you realize that I've highlighted a couple of things: a network, interconnected object, not things, object, pretty much anything. That's because today's world in IoT, you can pretty much add anything, connect anything to the internet and make it smart. Okay. Now, if these things can collect, exchange, and act on data, they form part of IoT. So this gives you a big picture of how IoT plays, in our everyday lives. From running on any device, anyone can actually use it. It's available around us anywhere. Businesses can use it, okay, and then also on almost all the network, and available for you anytime. These are some of the characteristics of IoT. But before that, let me take you back into time. Quick talk into what actually the very first IoT device was. Did you know that actually the very first concept of IoT or smart devices didn't start now? Actually, way back in 1982, this modified Coca-Cola vending machine, right, was actually the very first smart or connected IoT device. It was able to tell, the inventory, and also able to tell us whether it was cold or what it was hot. And this is the beginning of IoT. Now, let's take a look at some quick applications of IoT. Currently, as we state that we are in industry revolution version 4.0, and we've actually evolved from automation to big data to cloud computing to autonomous systems to IoT, which obviously is generating a lot of data and a lot of information, and from which we're going to move on to the ability to manage this data that is being generated. All right. So let's take a look at some of the key applications of IoT, and then we can jump into our scenario and start getting our hands dirty. All right. So we can have IoT applications in consumer applications, commercial applications, industrial applications, and then infrastructure. So, consumer, you have home like Philips Hue, you have smart wall thermometers, you have smart, thermostats, you have smart almost everything. In terms of commercial, think about this. We have commercial, IoT in building, commercial IoT in manufacturing. If you look at industry as well, yeah, from agriculture and other stuff, there's also IoT in there. And if you look at infrastructure, where you have utility companies, energy companies, water companies, electricity companies using smart meters, using smart street lights, these are all applications of IoT in the various aspects we find ourselves. All right. Now, once you understand what IoT is, once you understand all the core components of this, now I know you've heard about Power Platform. Awesome, awesome set of services that work together to allow you to analyze, automate, share, and use data. We're now going to combine some stuff from the Power Platform, that is Teams. We're going to use Power Automate. We're going to use some cloud stuff, Azure stuff in there as well, to create a very simple automated process that we can share, and bringing all these things together. Now, if you don't know what Microsoft Teams is, now Microsoft Teams is your modern workplace collaboration, communication platform, all right, that allows you to communicate with your team, set up meetings, conferences, live events, and also allows you to collaborate in unique ways, which you're going to see in today's session. So let's talk about the scenario. Well, I'll allow these things to play out, and then you understand. Well, I mean, everybody, most people. Let's not say everybody. Well, most people like their beer. And hey, just as a FYI, this is just a scenario, one use case. You can use pretty much any other scenario for this. I'm going to use a scenario that is common to me, applicable in the house. This can be translated into other industrial or commercial or infrastructure use cases. I love my beer. I know probably you also love your beer very well. Now, most times, have you ever been caught in a situation or scenario where you've been drinking the beer and you lose count of how many bottles you have left or how many cans you have left in your fridge? Yep. This is where we can actually use, a combination of the Power Platform, IoT, and Teams to do this for us. So let's see how this is going to work. So for some time now, anytime I go check, I take my beer, I'm just enjoying the beer. And then it gets to a point where I go into the fridge and I realize, oops, I'm out of beer. And I'm like, wait a minute, when did I finish all the beer? So I thought it wise. Well, is there a way I could use this? I could use all the Power Platform, use Teams, all the coast technology, I have IoT to help me, actually find out or help me reorder or help me prompt me to know when I need to restock. And yes, there's a solution to that. So to help me do this is a scenario. So if you haven't heard about them, I have a bunch of buttons here. These are what we call the flick buttons. Really awesome. You can see this one has actually has my, how do you call it? Has my beer logo on it. And I think I can actually make it a bit clearer for you to see. So if I bring it, much here, you can see how that works. So you can see it's just a simple button. I have a picture of my beer there. So this is a scenario. Now, anytime I take a beer, I have this stuck to my fridge so that anytime I take a beer, I just press it, right? Now, in the background, something happens. Now, what happens is that at the beginning after every reset, what happens is that it resets the counter. Now, the good thing about this button that I like is that it has three states. It has the press state, it has the double press state, and then it has the long press state. So three states. So with this, I can use this for a variety of things. So imagine the scenario. I have this thing stuck to my fridge so that anytime I take a beer, I press it once. Now, what happens is that when I press it, it goes into a SharePoint list, right? Go looks for the beer item and actually decreases it. So anytime I press it, it's a decrease. Anytime I press it, it's a decrease. Now within the SharePoint list, I have gone ahead to set a restock count. So what this means is that anytime I'm taking the beer and then it hits the restock level, an automation, a backend automation process is triggered. Now, what is this process? It calls Microsoft Flow or Microsoft Power Automate to do a flow process. Now, if you are, as I say, happy wife, happy life, you don't just get up and buy the beer. Unfortunately, in my scenario, the wife has to approve all my beer ordering. So I'm putting a bit of a twist in there. So once the stock level goes down, what happens is that an approval request is going to be sent to her in Teams because we collaborate as a family on Teams. And here's a scenario: you could have a bunch of procurement officers or purchasing officers on the Teams, Microsoft Teams channel. All right. And with that said, anytime a request come in, they can process it. So there's an approval sent if the stock goes down. Now, when she approves, all right, what happens after she approves? I get an SMS notification. All right, I get an SMS notification, and then with that, I know that my approval for purchasing or reordering has happened. And then I can continue with another flow to send a text message to the supplier to say that, hey, I need you to bring me, or even to Alexa, or however you want to do it. But for today's scenario, we're just going to limit it to send you a text message if it is being approved. And then you can just imagine the possibilities and build upon that. So with that said, let's just get right into the demo. And hey, don't forget, feel free to ask your questions in the chat. I would answer them as we're going on, as I'm building the demo. If you find something interesting you need me to answer, I'll try to answer it in the demo. Else, I'll just hold off and then answer all the questions at the end. All right, so let's just get right into it. Let's get rid of this slide. We don't need it anymore. And then let's bring our event. So let's get to them. Let's create this. I'm going to go through this process quite easily. So first off, we talked about a list. All right. So I'm going to go ahead. Let's close this. And then actually, let's come and create a new list. All right. So if you are not sure how to do this, you can go to portal.office.com and they can create a list. So let's go there. I'm going to do this. Open this up. Let's go to list. This is opened. So let's create a new list, and I'm going to click here, and then I'm going to create a blank list. Okay, and I'm going to call the beer. Yeah, let's just call this list beer. Right. Give it the green thing, and then say let's call this my beer counter. Let's do that and create this. All right, and this is going to go ahead and create our beer list for us. Now, realize that the list is empty. So here, I'm going to add a column, which is a number, and then we'll start by saying the count, and then this would be, let's say, let's call this, let's say this is current beer count. It's a number. We don't need a decimal place for this. We can just leave this. Yeah, and then we'll just save this. All right, and then we'll add another. Okay, we'll go ahead and add another column, and then we'll call this column, it's also a type of a number, so we'll call this one stock, or let's just call this restock, and then we'll say restock count. So this will be, again, we don't need this to have any decimal places. So this will be the restock count. That will tell us, are we ready to restock? All right, our beer purchase. So let's do save here, and that should be done. Now with this done, with this two created, we're good to go. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create a new entry. So for now, for this scenario, I'll start with a new entry. All right. Ideally, as part of the workflow, I can go in such a way that after the stock level after an order has been placed, I can come in or even still use another state of the button, like maybe a double click to reset the state back to whatever that is. So I'm just going to create the initial one. So let's go ahead, and this is going to be beer. And then for the pack, we have 12. Okay. And we'll probably say, let the restock be 5. Okay. And then save. So now what we have is we have an item, or we have an item in the list that says our count is 12 and then our restock is 5. So what's going to happen is that now anytime I press this button, all right, we're going to decrease the count by 1. So anytime there's a press, we're going to decrease it by 1. All right, decrease it by 1. And then I'm actually going to we'll just do the by 1, so that it's going to decrease. And now when it gets to the restock count, all right, we are now going to trigger the approval process that's going to send it to teams for us to say whether we are allow or agree for that purchase to happen. And then we'll send a text message, and then that will wrap it up. But then else you can take this up to the next level. All right, so now with that done, okay, the next thing now is to how do we configure this to allow it to create that. So I'm going to go ahead into our automate. Let's go ahead and create a new flow. So I'm going to create a new instant flow, and then I'll call this, let's call this beer tracker. All right, now the way this works is that I'm actually going to do when an HTTP request is received. Okay, so let's create this, and if we open this up, okay, when we save, this is going to be generated. All right, so first of all, we're going to say that, okay, so when an HTTP request is received, all right, now just as a test to show you how this works, not to deviate from our session, but you can actually use this to build different scenarios. Maybe the first thing would be anytime I press this button, it could be a panic button. So anytime I press this button, send an SMS to my contact. So to just demonstrate how it works, I'm just going to create a simple step that sends an SMS, so that you see how the SMS also works before we come back to the scenario. So I'm going to bring my phone into view right now. Okay, so the screen you're seeing currently, this is my phone. All right, now the buttons actually have a companion app, so that's how they're able to send triggers out. So they have 3 states. I have named this button beer. So if you realize that if I press it, the button is actually responding to that. So this is how you actually get it to do stuff. Let's go back to Power Automate. And then here, I'm going to say that when the response comes, let's do Twilio. Now, if you're not familiar with Twilio, Twilio is a service that allows you to send SMS, voice, do WhatsApp interaction. I have already added or connected Twilio to my Power Automate. So let's go ahead and open this. Oh, am I spelling this? Yeah, there you go. Yep. All right. So for Twilio, I want to send. So let's just do a test. I want to send a text message. All right. Now, because my system is already I've connected it by adding my account ID and token. So I'm going to use this number on file, and I'm going to send it to my phone right here. All right. And then I'll just say, let's go ahead and say testing my demo flow. All right. So let's do this. We save, and pretty much that's it. Now you realize that if you've not used Power Automate, and especially the HTTP trigger before, you realize that as soon as I saved, it generated the HTTP post URL for me to use. So now I can take this URL and then use it to do any form of automation that I like. All right. So I'm going to copy this, and then we're going to go back to our app, which is on my phone. So I'm going to click the flick, and then you can see that it has a 3 state: the click, the double click, and the hold. All right. So I'm going to go to the click, and then these are a lot of things you can do with the buttons. These buttons are very, very interesting. I'll go to the advanced section. You can see integrated Alexa. You can do a counter. You can do, with flow. If this then that. But for us, we're going to use an internet request. All right. So it's a post. So I'm going to do post, and then I'm going to paste the URL that I copied from Power Automate right in here. Right? So this says that anytime I press this button, go ahead and do, an internet request. And this internet request is coming to our Power Automate flow. All right. And then it's pretty much going to do the next step. So let me go ahead. Let me do done here. Go down. I can add any information if I when I want to, but we're just keeping it simple. So with this done, okay, with this done now, I know that anytime, let me bring this here. Anytime I press this button, it's going to call this HTTP request trigger, and then it's going to send an SMS which we've just done. So this actually has taken care of the sending the SMS and how we trigger for a beer, taking. So we'll fill in the gaps as we move on. So I'm going to save this here. Let's come back to this. This is working. So now let's see if this truly, all right, is going to work. So let's go back. So what you're seeing on the side is my phone. You're seeing my phone on the side. And then I have the click button here, which you can see. So I'm going to press it. So press it once. And then that triggered. And then now, to show you, I'm going to go to my messages and then take a look at this. Do you see that? Testing my demo flow. There you go. So I can press this again so you see that I didn't type this. So let me keep that screen open and press this. And then we just wait a second, some few seconds, and then you should see another SMS pop up right below it. Okay, what happened? Let's see. Let's press this again. Okay. So that is how I can get this. Okay, there you go. So that's how I can get this button, all right, to send an SMS when I press it. So at least we have two parts of our scenario taken care of. So we have the scenario where we've taken the beer, we pressed it, all right, it goes out onto Power Automate, and then it does something and sends an SMS. So now we're going to fill in, the blanks. So let me keep this down here for the meantime. So now we've created our list, which we call the beer list. We have a starter flow. Now, what are the things we want to do? So first off, anytime we press the button, a couple of things have to happen. Okay, we want to first go back to this to check if the count, all right, is how do you call it? If the count is less than or equal to the restock, all right, then we can do something. So to achieve this, I'm going to go ahead here, and I'm just going to, for the sakes of simplicity and clarity, I'm just going to initialize a variable. We're just going to go ahead and initialize a variable here. And yep, let's say initialize a variable, and then we're going to call this, let's rename this. Let's say beer counter variable, or pretty much, yeah, we can call this, yeah, let's just call this beer counter variable. And then this will call the count. This will actually be an integer. All right, so we set this. Let's create another one, and let's do another variable. Okay, so let's initialize another variable, and then we'll call this var restock, and this would also be an integer. And then I'll rename this and say let's say restock variable, something just simple and nice. Let's keep saving so we don't lose the work. So now we have our two variables that we've defined, all right? That's going to allow us to store this information. So the next thing we want to do, let me change this. And then let's say lists. Yep, so there you go. And let's go look for get lists. Where is that? Where is our list? Yep. So let's call the get list. And then let's see. These are the two lists. So hopefully, just let's see. I think we have it in our demo. Let me go pull this out. So just a sec here. So let's get to SharePoint. Okay, let's do this. Let's get the custom value in here so we can pull our data at the custom item. So I'm going to paste this in. And let's see. Yep. Actually, let's do this. Let me see if this gives us our lists. Let's go copy this out here. And remember, I mean, you could, I am using SharePoint list, for my data source, but you could pretty much use any other item if you want any other data source if you want to. So it could be an Excel sheet, it could be, an Excel in your OneDrive, it could be SQL Server, it could be anything. I'm using list for simplicity and to make it very very easy. So let's copy this. Let me be sure I'm getting this into it. And don't forget, if you have any questions as I'm doing this process, just keep them in the chat, and I would answer that for you. So no question is a terrible question, so just keep it coming. All right, so let's try this again. Taking a bit, but hopefully I hope you're getting the concept of what we're trying to do here. So hopefully gods of demo day will be gracious to us, so that they would allow us fulfill this. All right, so let me add, let's do this here. Okay, so loading. All right, so let's have this loaded. It's strange. Okay, give me a sec. Let's see. let's go here, and I'm going to actually go straight into SharePoint to see why this list here. So let's open this up. Let's just get rid of this list. Just want to pull out this. Let's see. Recent. Yes, we have a demo. And then let's see if we have the list happening. Let's go here. Let's see. Okay, you know what? For the sake of time, I'm just going to go ahead and I'll try to create just a new one here. Yeah, so that it doesn't take much of our time. So let's I'll just call this beer demo. Okay. All right, and then let's create this. Even though the first one I use SharePoint list, but I think that one is using my personal drive. That's why that's not happening. Good. So let's go ahead and quickly do this. So again, so let's do number, and then we'll call this count. This is of a type number. We don't need this. We save. I'm trying to do this so we can beat time. Okay, and then we'll just call this stock for now. All right. And then we don't need any decimal places. It's already type of a number. We save this. All right. So then I'll go ahead and then let's add one. Let's add an entry. So let's do beer. And then we'll do a count of 10. And then we'll do the restock as 5. And then we'll save. Awesome. So now, so as you can see, yep. So this gives us all that information. Let's go back to our drive, and then I can go, I know it's in this. And then if you open this up, let's go ahead. Yeah. Okay, so get list. And let's add a new action. So let's go ahead here. And then let's get items. So let's do another items here. So SharePoint. Let's get this. Let's see. We're looking for items. So yeah, get item. All right. So I have a list, so I can do get item, and then it will ask me I'm using from this. and then I'm getting from beer demo. All right. So I think our unique ID, let's go back here and just open this up. Let's do this. Let's find the details of this. There you go. Edit all. Okay, great. So let's do this. Let's put this here. And there you go. Hopefully. So let's come back here. So I'm just trying to get so with that, I don't think we need this at this point. Okay. Let's see. Flow checker. Hold on. Let's see. So to test this, so press this, right? You hear the beep, and that should, that should execute. So let's go back. Now, one good thing about Power Automate is that you can actually see the run history. So it just ran a couple of seconds ago. We open this up. I just want to be sure that we're getting the information we need, and then we can take. So yep. So we open this up, and then you can see the output. So I'm looking for the output of count. Let me put this somewhere here in my notepad. Yep. And then stock, let me put somewhere here in my notepad. So this is the output that I get from. Oh, let's look at this. Let's see what the body. I thought I saw a body somewhere. Unless, of course, yeah, there you go. Yeah, 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 yeah. So yeah, the body has that information for me. So I can do the body and then do count and stock. All right, cool. So let's go and edit. That's all I wanted. So now I know the count. I know the stock. All right. So if I go ahead and let's do a condition. All right. So let's do a condition. So I'm going to apply a condition here. All right. And then what is the condition? So here, do you see that? So I can say that if where is that? Where is that? Yep. So let's say if the count, all right, if the count is less than or equal to the, what do we call it? The stock. All right. So here so I'm saying that when we get this item, all right, if the count, which is what we have, which is the 12 or whatever is left after you press the button, if this is less than or equal to the stock, all right, which means that we're out of stock, so we need to reorder. All right. If it is not, okay, if it is not, we don't do anything. We pretty much do not. There's nothing to do. All right. So I can go ahead and look for where's that? Oh yeah. I mean, nothing fancy. All right. We can decide to leave it that way. All right, let's just leave it. We're not doing anything in there, right? So if the count is less than or equal to, then it means we need to restock. And this is where we are doing our flow from. However, if it is not, we need to reduce the count because we started with 12. And it means that if now we're pressing and it's not equal to, just reduce it. So here you can go ahead and let's do an update. So SharePoint, let's do SharePoint. And then we can do update item. All right. So let's do where's the update? Yep, update item. All right. So let's select this. What is the site we're using? Remember, this is our demo site. Is the beer demo, is ID. ID1. So here, so the things it's thinking we want to update, right? We can still leave the beer. What title do we give to it? Just so yeah, it's just beer, all right? So we can say that here is still beer. However, the count, what we want to do, I think we can do an expression, all right? So let's do an expression of get. So yeah, so the count, all right, minus one. Okay, and yep, hit enter, and let's save this. Output get item body. Yep. So let's look at this. So the output for get item, the body, the count minus one. All right. So we do this. The stock is still the same. We don't do anything to the stock. So what is it saying? It says that fixed for input parameters. Oh, okay. Oh, it looks like our expression is crying. So let's look at this. Oh, we use a dynamic figure. Sorry, forgive. So um let's do this. Where is that? So the count, and then so let's do. I think I can do format number. Yep. Oh, yep. Okay. So it looks like my clock is ticking. But I will be in chat to actually answer any questions you have. But what I'm going to do is that I'm going to do a follow up. Even after the workshop, I'm going to do a follow up and push out there. So if you have any question on how to do it, I think the sending of the information to Flow to do this, giving you some idea of it. But if you have any question, I'm going to stick around and I'm going to answer how to do that. But hey, continue enjoying DynamicsCon, and I'll be around to answer your questions. So hey, let's have some fun and make sure you stay true to the end to watch and see all the other awesome presentations we have. With that said, see you in the chat. Hey guys, I hope that was very informative and that was interesting. Well, I have something really quickly to show you. Well, you realize that we're going through the flow, so I took the liberty to finish the flow for you. Now, I'm going to show you something real quick. Now, if you take a look at my screen before we go to the Q&A, now, so what I've done on the side is my phone, and then um, on the other hand, you can see my the other part of my screen, right? Awesome. So now what's going to happen is that I'm going to use the flick button again and then click it a couple of times and show you what happens. People were saying in the chat that, well, we could have used wine. Yes, we can use wine to do it. Now, the other part is that imagine if we added, let's say, your wife or a partner to be the approver of that deal list. Imagine all the fun. So quickly, let's go to this. So I'm going to press a couple of times. So 1, 2, and then 3. And now, if you look closely, you would realize that our count over here is going down. Let me quickly give this a refresh. And then you will see that the count actually has dropped. All right. Now, in the background, what just happened was that we sent two things. We sent an approval request here, as you can see in my email. Check this out. We have here, and it's saying, what do we have? Beer restock request. All right. So there is there is a beer restock request for us to approve. So take a look at this. Yep, there you go. So I'm going to go here and then look, requested by Samuel. We are out of beer. So I'm going to go ahead and then approve and then submit. Now, almost immediately when that approval happens, a few things happen. If you check my phone, I would have received a text message that is telling me, look at that, hooray, more beer on the way. On the other hand, and then if you check back the list, you'd have realized that the list has now been increased with 12 more set of beers. So this is awesome. This is a lot of real life applications, procurement, restocking, a lot of things you can do with this. So hit me with your questions, and then I'll be sure to answer it. If there's any other thing you want me to show, I can also show that. How do you read the SMS approval request in the flow? Yes, you can do that. So if you go back to the steps, that we have, I could have used still the Twilio connector that I had to read an SMS that comes in to that number or response to that SMS, and then I could use that. But what I'm doing now is just using the Twilio connector. When the approval happens, I'm just sending an SMS directly with it. But I could have taken that SMS response and done anything with it. Jonathan, I hope that answered the questions. Yeah, so as you can see, whilst the questions are coming, so assuming I'm going to edit this again, all right, and then I'm going to reduce the count back again to, let's say, let's do 3, and then the restock level is still going to be 2. Now, in this time around, if I if I actually if I actually do the request, I am going to reject it. All right, I'm going to reject it, and you see what type of SMS it sends. That is what's being catered for in my flow, and I'll share the flow pretty quick. So let's go ahead and do this again. So let's do 1, and then let me actually open this one, because so this one says hooray, more be on the way. Now let's do this again. 2, and you can see that now the count is almost going down. The count is reducing. So now we should be down to 1 beer, and then I would go ahead. Now at this point, we should have seen a request coming. So I'm going to do the last one, and yep, there you go. So you see that now we have what? A restocking request. Now you see that, sorry, you are out of beer. Now, because I went down, there was 0 BS, and I pressed the button again, I got an SMS telling me, sorry, you are out of beer. Request for restock. All right. You can see that down there. So I've done the request. Now, what if my wife decides to say that, no, Sam, you've been having too much beer. Let's change it to, let's say wine or juice. All right. So she's going to reject it, and then just do reject. And this time around, check. You should see that I'm going to receive another SMS, but this time not the soak. So it says, sorry, you are out. It says what? Yeah, sorry. Request to restock rejected. Drink some juice instead. So the many ways you can actually do this, and this is a tip of the iceberg. There are a lot of automations you can do. Now this is one way. Imagine it's a business process where you now have your teams, people in a teams chat. All right. So now what you can do is that you can now pass this approval request into teams for them to act upon it. So procurement, recurement, request for information, whatever that is, combined with approval, and then combined with a physical button. There's a lot you can do. An example would be, let's say, even in the case of home, right? You want your kids to get some points when they do their chores. So you can put this, at the fridge, or by the bin or something, and when the chore is done, they press it, and you can do a whole lot of automation. So this is just bringing you closer. IoT bringing you closer through Power Automate and all the area of Microsoft products. There's a lot of interesting combinations that can happen. So let me quickly open the flow and maybe expand that side for you. So let's go to Power Automate. I'm going to open this in a new tab. Hopefully you can see this. Yeah, was trying to make this a bit bigger for you, so you can actually see all the messages that comes through. So the first one is, hooray, when approval happens, this is what you get. Hooray, more on the way. When your approval is rejected, this is what you get. Sorry, request to restock rejected. Drink some juice. And then when you are out of beer, and then you're pressing the button, it tells you this. So these are the 3 stage that you can have. Not now. So let's go ahead and let's open solutions. And it's a good practice, to keep your flows in the solution. So that's what I did. So I'm just going to walk you through that process, because someone asked, how would you get that information? So let's go ahead and do this real quick. Real quick. And yeah, keep your questions coming. So far, just one question, which I believe, Jonathan, I have answered that. And yes, the session, so this recording will actually be posted on YouTube by the 23rd of March. So you can see it there. And just make sure you subscribe to the DynamicsCon YouTube channel for more content. So whilst I'm waiting for my solutions to load, so I show the flow. If you have any questions, please keep the questions coming. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. I hope you're enjoying DynamicsCon. I hope you've seen a lot of sessions that is intriguing and inspiring to think of innovative ways of using power, the power platform, IoT, and other stuffs. So if there's anything specific you want to, you know, you want to know, just put it in the chat, and I'll be great to answer that. So let's go look for our BA demo. Let's see, let's see, let's see. Let me just go to my flows. Hey Molly, what's up? I hope you're having a blast on the show. We're just having some fun. Yes, let's open our BA tracker. So I'm going ahead to, open this and then show you the part where the integration happening, especially what we are doing, if it's yes or no. And if you have any specific questions on that, I would explain that to you. So yeah, I was trying to build it so you're aware of how the request comes in from the flick button. You've seen that. So this is a condition. So we're doing the count. So here, let's go open this up where we're reducing it, and let's check if yes. And there we go. So here, so this is where the Twilio thing is, sending the out of stock SMS. All right. So yeah, Jonathan, with this one, I could actually get the response as well from my approval or reject, and then pass that into. So you realize that during the approval process, I was asked to put in a comment. All right. So if I put in the comment, as part of the approval response coming back to Power Automate, I could get the content of the comment and then pass that to Twilio as the message to be sent as an SMS. All right. Now, think about this. Awesome. Thank you, darling. Now, also think about this. If you are in the business, let's in the retail business. And now, in this scenario, we used the IoT button, right? But think about this. If you have a connected stock management system, all right, what could happen is that, you get to the counter, you scan, beep, let's say beer. Let's still use beer. Or let's just stick to beer since we're using that. You scan, beep, you have a stock of 100 bottles of beer. As people are checking out, beep, 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 that stock in the back end is reducing. You can set a restock count, all right, or level. Immediately it gets there. Now think about this scenario. Let's say Walmart, Best Buy, all these big, stores, Game, ShopRite, all these big stores. Think about this automation. When it gets to the restock level, you can actually use this automation to almost immediately generate a purchase order, right? Generate a purchase order, send the purchase order immediately for approval to the procurement officer or whoever that is in charge of. They will just approve it just like this in the email, and that purchase order with the correct approval is sent to the distributor of the beer, and almost immediately, think about that. Assuming, okay, here we're talking about IoT and Power Automate. Now, assuming that distributor is also on IoT and also on smart systems where they have trucks already having a lot of beer and going around to do distribution. All right. You can even use some AI in there and still IoT to figure out the stock levels. And then almost immediately that truck can come and do the delivery. Now, that is just one scenario. Hey, Adam. Yes, yes, a lot. Yeah, I'll address that as well. So that is just one scenario in terms of retail. All right. Now, someone is asking in the areas of, yeah, someone is asking, how is it usable in the financial services? This is even basic approval. All right. Now, think about this. Let's look at financial services. You have engineers or field service people going to repair ATMs. All right. I'll give you a scenario where the last time I was taking money from the ATM and the power went off. I think there was a problem with the UPS, so it couldn't come back online. For me to do the transaction, and I lost some money in there, but I made a report. Now let's stick to the field team of ATM servicing it. All right. So let's say if there's a problem, all right, you could put these buttons there. This could be just anything, any physical thing people can interact with. All right. So if they go there and the ATM is faulty, it could be a scanning of a QR code. All right. When you scan that QR code, you enter some things, it begins an approval process. It begins a process of telling you, hey, someone just sent a message or something. Now, the good thing about this button is that it has 3 states. So you can say that when you press it once, it means there's a problem. If you press it twice, it means something else. And then you can do a nice graphics and put it there. So someone clicks on it, you have a predefined message that is going. And this is why this is important, because I don't need a smartphone. I don't need an app. It's just a very basic thing button by the ATM that I can press. All right. So I press that. and it sends a signal, or sends a message, an approval on anything. It could be an approval, it could be any automated message to the backend that, hey, this ATM has a problem. And almost immediately, if your ATMs are also smart enough, in the background, you could have a background service ping the ATM or start to look at, what's happening. And this is applicable to a lot of things. Sometimes I don't know why the ATMs or people wait for money to finish in the ATMs before they reload it. So this is another a typical scenario, all right, where imagine the ATM as the IoT device, okay, that has a similar flow where if the money in the cases are going down, it triggers an automatic request for reload of money into the ATM. So Adam, I don't know if that answered your question, but that would be a typical example of how it's used in the financial sector. All right. In terms of security as well, this could be a panic button, right? This could be an emergency panic button. This could be an SOS button. Could be anything. So different use cases that can be used to perform different things. Keep your questions coming. I am pumped. I'm pumped. And yeah, I've not drunk beer in a while. So right after this, I'm going to get myself, a chilled bottle of beer to get it done. Welcome, Adam. I'm so glad that this, answered it for you. Yes. So Adam is asking, is this also applicable for financial stock alerts? Possibly. Yes, it is. It is. So that would be the same thing. You can set up your flow to be listening to, some stock changes. And then when it hits a certain threshold, you can, automate and do stuff you want to do. And the cool thing is that I am using a SharePoint list. It doesn't have to be a SharePoint list. It could be data coming in, data stream coming in from some stock ticker or something that you're acting on. It could be anything, pretty much anything. You can act on it. I mean, whether it's IoT, there is Power Automate, or there's Power Platform, there is endless possibilities. There's a lot of things you can achieve. Yeah, keep your questions coming. I think we have about 7 minutes to the top of the hour before I sign off and say goodbye to you. But keep your questions coming. I'll be more than, happy to answer them. If you have any questions, maybe after my session, I'll still be in the chat. Just keep them coming. I'll answer them. I'll link you to resources that you can use. Um, all I can say to you is that whatever you've received or seen on the show today, on the session today, pick it, go try something out, just play around. And if you have any challenges, reach out to us. A part of the community, we are a loving and awesome community. Another question from Darlene, property management. Yes. Imagine inspection. I'm coming to do an inspection in the place. Once the inspection is done, I can immediately trigger something, or if there's a problem, I can trigger it, and so countless possibilities. One thing I want you to know is that I want you to leave you with this: nothing is impossible. Nothing is impossible when technology is, in the mix. So think about this. This is a hardware, physical hardware coming from IoT, using Power Automate as a platform, and we can achieve endless possibilities. Watch out for something. Potentially, I want to assure you the next Dynamics Con, all right? Watch out for my session. Hopefully, you vote for me. I'm going to show you how I'm using a nifty tool, using Power Automate and Power Apps and other stuffs to actually control my car, or code less. Less code, more power. So make a day with us for the next Dynamics Con. If you really want to see that, how I control, how I start to lock, unlock, roll down, roll up the glasses in my car, all from a Power Apps connected to Power Automate, connected to a nifty IoT device that is in my car. If you want to see that, make sure you register for the next Dynamics Con. Make sure you spread the word. Make sure you join us next for the next edition of Dynamics Con. And hey, you will not regret it. I always remain your fun loving, technology loving, buddy. Hit me up, and if there's anything, I'll be able to answer. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Oh yeah, a lot we can do. So keep it coming. And don't forget, everything you've picked in the video session so far. All right, you can actually use this, put them together, and see how it helps your business, your community, your family, yourself to improve our things. Keep improving what you've built, and mind you, there are a lot of interesting things coming up in the Power Platform, and in the whole Power Platform world. So keep an eye out for that and use them as much as you can. Awesome. So 5 minutes. Any questions? I mean, yeah, Fuis is asking what's with the energy. Fuis is just water. I've just been drinking water. There's nothing to it. It's just water. Just plain water. Nothing, nothing crazy. So just drinking water. Nothing to it. Yep. Awesome. I had fun. I hope you had fun too. Thank you, Kim. Thank you, Kim. Thank you, Kim. Thank you, guys. Yep. Let's keep doing this. Let's have fun. Let's have fun doing this, and hopefully, we'll make the world a better place through technology and the love for it, and as we do. And yeah, so grab yourself. And this is not. If you have these flick things lying around, try using them for different scenarios. All right. Use them for different, scenarios. Play around with it, how you can control that and do a lot of things with it. So yeah, they're very interesting. I have a bunch like that. And yeah, a question. It's not just the flick button. Yes, it's not just the flick button. All right. You can use I think the Microsoft button, text button. I don't know if they still thanks, Kim. You had a blast. Awesome. I'm happy I made you have a blast. I'm not sure they're still producing it. You can use, any smart button at all. And again, like I mentioned, IoT doesn't limit you to, just this button. All right. There are a lot of things you can do. You can any things around you, a lot of things, a lot of dumb things around you that you can make smart using IoT and then connect them to the internet and the power platform and to do amazing stuff like I just showed you today. So go ahead, have fun. I'm privileged to have presented this to you. If you have any questions, please keep them coming. Even after my session, I'll be in the chat. And then, hey, make a date with me or make a date with Dynamics Con. Next edition, you're going to see how I use IoT and Nifty device, power automate, power apps to control my car. With that said, I'm ready to sign out. But here again, I'll be on the chat answering your questions. So feel free, ask the questions, and let's continue the dialogue. Um, Hope you have fun the rest of Dynamics Con. Make sure you're taking something out of it. Make sure you're sharing and make sure you're learning. The most important thing is to start something, is to learn, is to practice it. That's the only way you're going to get good at it. So with that said, yeah, I guess that'll be it from my side, all the way from Accra, Ghana, serving you with this awesome dish. Um, if there's anything else, just hit me up and I'll be sure to, as on social media, my handles are at SADRANYI at Adranyi. Awesome. Hey, Ben, thank you very much. Glad that you like the session. I'm always pleased and privileged when I get the opportunity to share this things like this with you. And yeah, keep your feedback coming. If it's something you didn't like about how I presented or how I did it, just please hit me up. If it's a better way, I'll be glad to help. With that said, thank you guys for having us. And then, hey, I'll still be in chat. Keep your questions coming and make sure you enjoy to the fullest the rest of Dynamics Con. All right. Stay safe, stay blessed. And then, yeah, mask up, mask up, mask up, mask up. We need you alive. We need you safe. We need you, to do more things like this. All right. So, from me, I am potentially out in a few sec. Keep your questions coming and remain safe. All right, guys, nice to connect with you and enjoy the next session. Make sure you're making the most out of it. Make the most out of it. Thank you very much and have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, whatever it is, wherever you find yourself. Have a great day.